Hey everyone, today I have with me the co-founder of Galanter and Jones, Miranda Jones. Galanter and Jones makes these beautiful, awesome, heated outdoor furniture. They're based out of San Francisco. I'm a big fan of this brand. Um, Miranda, why don't we start with you just introducing yourself and your company, your background, and kind of how you got started?
I'd love to. Thank you for having me, Mark. Let's see. We've been in business for about 12 years. My brother and I make the world's finest heated furniture. And it came about because my brother was doing a design build project in San Francisco where the weather is famously fickle and realized that it would be a lot better if there was something to keep you warm outside. And he thought that the idea of heated furniture was so obvious that there would be something on the market for him to buy, but it turned out there wasn't. So he decided to make something and a product was born. So
I I'm from Montreal and it gets really cold around those transitional seasons, and I like you're saying, like think it's a no-brainer that everyone should just have
yeah,
heated outdoor furniture. It would just make, it would extend your patio season. Um,
exactly what it does. It means you get to spend more time outside, being comfortable and relaxed. And it does a much better job at keeping you warm than a fire pit, which is great for ambiance, or an overhead heat lamp, which they smell, they're
doesn't cover everyone.
expensive. Yeah, they break all the time. Because you're making contact with our furniture, your body stays warm and the blood circulating through your body stays warm. So it really feels like you're in a hot tub, but you're not getting wet. It's an amazing feeling.
And most people, when they think of outdoor furniture, they're probably just thinking of some kind of functional design to keep you warm. But what I love about your brand is that you actually have beautiful designs for the furniture. Like, it's
Thank you.
something you
And
should be proud of.
we are really proud of that. And I think even more proud of the fact that the furniture is comfortable. You know, people look at it and it's made out of cast concrete, so it's a very hard surface. And people look at it and aren't sure that it's going to be comfortable. And then they sit down, and that's almost the first thing they say. I can't believe how comfortable this is. And that is a real point of pride for us because I'm sure, as you know, not all furniture is comfortable. But we knew ours had to be because it was made from a hard surface that was going to be durable enough to be outside, and it had to be comfortable because
But
people were
I
saying
guess
it for a long time.
it's not the shape, I guess. I mean, it's not the texture or the material that makes it comfortable. It's the shape more,
That's right.
because like you said, it's like concrete, right? So it's
Yeah,
hard.
it's the shape. My brother designed all of the furniture that we make and created all the molds, and making them very ergonomic and comfortable was a really high priority for him.
Hmm. So what was the first piece of furniture that you guys designed and started selling?
It's called the Helios Lounge, and it's kind of a curved bean shape
Mm,
um, lounger that is almost 8 feet long. It it seats like four people. It's really beautiful and very large. And that shape is still our very best seller. We made one that's a little bit smaller, that's about 6 feet. I think it's 6 feet 8 inches. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm forgetting this. But that one is our most popular, and so it's the first shape was is one of the best selling shapes we still make, and
right,
yeah, it's called Helios, and that means sun, and so we wanted to evoke that feeling of warmth.
right. Well, I mean, it's great that the first product you designed, you're still selling it today. So that means it was a hit on your first shot.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm curious to know, you have a lot going on. So we know each other for some time now. We work together through most, but I know that you kind of take on a lot on your plate. You wear a few different hats within the company. What does your typical day look like at Galanter and Jones?
Mm. I check my phone first thing when I wake up. I think that's typical of anyone that has their own business. But then I actually sit down to work around 8:30 or 9, and I see if there's anything pressing from any customers that need our attention or any of our retail partners. And then I usually get on work. Uh, then I usually get to work working with our marketing team, who's remote. They're always creating some content for newsletters and like, for example, we're doing an upcoming color capsule collection launch. So we've been working on that brief. And so I spend a lot of my time doing that. And then working with my co-founder and brother and um, our other key player who has more of a finance and strategic background than my brother and I do. And the three of us spend a lot of time figuring out what's next, what our next goals are, and how to get there. So it's been really, yeah, every day is different, but also the same.
I mean, that's all you can ask for, right? As in your job is to feel like everything's exciting every day.
Yeah.
There's a new challenge.
Yeah. And we're getting ready to go to a trade show in DC that's specifically for architects. It's cool that we get to, our product really makes sense for so many different types of people and different types of market. For example, we're going to an architecture only sort of show, and then we'll go to a glamping show later this year. We just do a whole design shows. We do a whole variety, like outdoor furniture shows, because it really appeals to so many different categories, which is really great. We're not just electronics or something like that. So
yeah, and that's what I was saying, like off the top, like it's amazing that you built something that's not just functional in terms of providing warmth and heat to a surface when you're sitting outside, because most people imagine that is something that you might not even want to put in your backyard or showcase. But you've also designed something that's aesthetically pleasing that could be found in Vogue, or I don't know, what are those? Vogue is not indoor furniture.
No,
furniture magazine.
Architectural Digest. We've
There
been in
you go.
Architectural Digest.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Hold on.
That's okay.
We just got a dog.
Nice. Congrats. So it's no secret. It's not a, I don't want to say it's not a fast consuming product. It's not one that, it's a considered purchase. The shopping journey is quite long for a product like yours. Again, I'm refraining from using the term expensive because that's subjective, but it's again, it's a higher price purchase, and obviously that's, it's justified in the quality of the product. But what kind of tips or best practices have you found for selling an expensive product like heated outdoor furniture online?
So for years, we didn't even do any marketing because we didn't have the money, but also because we found that word of mouth was the most powerful tool for us. People, when they encounter a new product, what they really want to know is, does my friend like it? Is the person that I trust, are they enjoying it? If they have the validation from somebody that they trust, they are going to also consider the product. And we also have a very experiential product. So it's really the combination of those two things. So it's the recommendation of somebody that they trust and experiencing it in person. And that is what led us to you, in fact, because we are such a small company and we don't have, retail stores across the states. So setting up customer showrooms was so incredibly important to us, because it allowed people who are in Vermont or in Minnesota to find somebody who has our heated furniture and liked it enough to open up their home, to invite other people in to try it, and to answer any questions that they have. And that means so much. We're not paying these people to sell for us. They don't make any commission. They like it so much that they want to tell people about it. And that, to me, is the most, I don't know, I don't think anything could make me more proud than that. Like, having a product that people want to recommend is really high praise.
Right. And it's influential for someone else to make a purchase. And I guess that's, my takeaway is one of the most important elements. You need to provide that trust, and who better to provide that trust than a colleague, a friend, a neighbor, that can help reassure you about making that purchase online.
And it's not just like a TikTok, like a $20 thing, like this is, like you said, a very considered purchase. People spend a lot of money to enjoy our products, and we really appreciate that, and we want to make them good, and we want to, make sure that they're happy with their purchase. So it's trust on both sides.
Does your marketing team sort of break down that shopping journey and kind of find where your top of funnel best
Yes.
practices or channels to bring in, and how do you think about moving them through that decision making process? Because as we keep alluding to, this is not something that's going to be purchased in a day or even a week. Sometimes it
Right.
could take months, right? So also, how do you track that entire journey as well?
So we have a strange uphill battle in a lot of ways, because we are a category creator in the sense that most people have never even heard of heated furniture. So that's our first step is raising awareness, and letting people know that's something that they can even purchase. So that is the very top of funnel. It's making sure that people know there's something called heated furniture that they can look for, and then mid funnel is letting them know the functionality, the value proposition, that it is been validated by people, even if they don't know them personally, people who've written about them in the press,
Right.
or we rely heavily on testimonials in our mid funnel marketing, and that goes a long way. So we try to stay top of mind, because, like you said, it is a long purchase process. And so we will send them a postcard, perhaps, and something that they can put up on the refrigerator, and so that keeps our product top of mind. We also continue to show them different styles and the furniture in different situations, and hopefully something is going to end up resonating with them. They'll be like, oh my gosh, that looks like my backyard, or oh, I can really see this in our space now that I've seen this photo of it. So it's all about trying to connect with them where they are and meet them. A lot of people end up buying outdoor furniture quite often, unfortunately, because it doesn't have a long lifespan. And
Mm.
we realize that our furniture is a little bit more expensive than some of the items out there that you could buy at Lowe's or Home Depot. But we know that our product is going to last a lot longer, and it's not a disposable product. We've been in business for 12 years, and some of the items that we put out in the first year they were in business are still working just fine, even though now we've made so many more iterations and we think it's a superior product now. But the ones we launched with are still out in the world working. They're not
Right.
disposable.
You mentioned, I think I heard you mention that you even send postcards. Do you mean like physical postcards? And if you do, are you using a platform for that? Are you using Postpilot for that kind of
Um,
experience?
oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name.
Okay.
I'm
I
sorry.
know, I know
Um,
Postpilot, free plug for Postpilot is one of the more popular ones, but what
that's
made you want to implement that kind of experience? Because it makes sense, right? Because it's a high touch point purchase, and you could afford to kind of take that extra step to market them, with
yes,
physical mailers.
absolutely. And we know that people are getting so much information all the time, that in order to stay top of mind for long enough, in a long sales cycle, we needed to make sure that we were in their eyesight. And so by sending them a postcard, it's something that they can put up in their refrigerator, or they can show their partner, or they can just have kicking around, and they can keep it in mind. Maybe they're
Mhm.
doing a mood board for their backyard, or maybe they want to renovate, but they're not ready to, but they don't want to forget that it's kind of like a in-person Pinterest. So we're hoping that
I like that
that just
description. It's a good point.
it
Because
just
people
keeps
just
us
like to
around.
put beautiful things on their
Yeah,
walls and on their fridges and look at them for inspiration. So
absolutely. And
yeah,
so hopefully, we're lucky enough to have our furniture in some really beautiful places that we've been able to photograph, and we want to be aspirational but also realistic. And so we want people to see themselves in our marketing.
right, right, makes sense. When you and your brother sat down to conceptualize the brand Galanter and Jones, what was that process like? I mean, what made you kind of come up with, I guess, not just the name, but just the aesthetic behind the brand, or I guess what I'm trying to get to is like that thought process and what the brand is today. How do those things kind of come about, and is it what you originally set out to build?
I think that I wish that we had been really strategic, but you don't know what you don't know. What we did know is that we both cared about design and aesthetic and comfort. And so we wanted the brand to reflect that, and we wanted it to seem solid and trustworthy, because those are the values that we have as a company. And so, you can tell our name is not something that just screams furniture. Those are our names, and it could as easily been a law firm as a furniture company. And our first marketing was just incredibly simple. It was just, our first lounge on a dropout, and it just said Galanter and Jones heated furniture. And so we've come a long way from that, but I think that at the core, we're still very much that. We like it to be simple and clean and beautiful and trustworthy, but we don't want to just rely on aesthetics, which is why we use so much testimonial in our marketing.
Right.
Because we just don't want to rest on our laurels. There's so many beautiful things out there that are not actually great or comfortable. I can think of a lot of things that are actually very disappointing. So we wanted to make sure that it wasn't just another pretty thing. It was a pretty thing that you could trust and that was actually functional. And that has been a real marketing challenge, to be honest. That's a lot of information to get across about a product that people didn't even know existed. So it's multifaceted, and we do a lot of in-person events. And again, this is why we use most with the customer showrooms, because we really want people to experience the product. And once they do, they're hooked.
Yeah, you just got to get bums on seats, and then
Exactly.
you'll make sales. So since you kind of, as you were saying, created this category, because surprisingly it's not something that existed before, have you seen competition come in, and how do you think about new competition?
It really kept me up at night when we first started. I was so worried that we were going to get ripped off by a company that was just going to really make a shoddy product that was very cheap and in competition. But I think that because we were a category creator, we weren't enough of a threat to make that happen, which is really great. So we've had a lot of time to, make our product better and better and better. And I think actually now, after 12 years, the idea of heated furniture is something that people know about. At the end of last year, we actually got our first 2 competitors, and one's in Canada and one's out of Texas. And as far as we're concerned, that's great. The more people that know that heated furniture is a thing, the better.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're helping you kind of build the market, right? And it's not just,
Absolutely.
it's sure is one thing that maybe the pieces of the pie are going to get divided a bit more, but the pie itself is going to get bigger.
Absolutely. And we've reached out to both of the companies and, said, like, welcome to the space. Like, we're glad to have you. This
Wow. Okay.
is
Interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I'm glad we were first to market, but as I think anyone knows, being first to market isn't everything. It's a pretty hard row to hoe. So I think it'll be a little bit easier for them in some ways. They can decide how to differentiate themselves from us and what to do differently. But we were just kind of moving forward in the dark. So we'll see what happens. But honestly, great.
Yeah, competition is good. I mean, when we first set out with Most, it was hard. We couldn't find anyone that was doing something similar to what we were doing in terms of kind of pins on a map, connecting shoppers and kind of having these conversations between an existing customer and a shopper. And in a way, it kind of scares you, because you're like, is there a reason why there's no one else doing this? And then when eventually, I mean, we still went in it anyways, because we saw a lot of kind of signals that there's a need for this type of platform. And then we found a competitor that was doing actually something very, very similar. And but they're a little bit harder to find because they're based out of Europe. But in a way, we were kind of high-fiving ourselves like when we
Yeah.
found out. So yeah, competition is good.
Also, I would just like to say, and I know I've told you this privately, but it bears repeating that you guys rolled out a product that was so good right out of the gate. It was incredible to use and integrate and totally seamless. And there's rarely been a thing that we've integrated into our company that has been easier. In fact, I can't think of one thing. So you guys built a really good product.
Thank you. Those are very kind words, and they mean a lot. We still, we always feel like it's a struggle, and we're improving. I mean, I'm sure you go through the same things,
Yeah,
but no, it does mean a lot for you to say that, and we're not paying you for that.
absolutely not. You're not paying me, and no,
Yeah, I
not at all.
appreciate that. Um, I know from like different marketing channels that you run, you guys are kind of not everywhere, but you try a lot of different channels, and yeah, you're investing in different ones. I'm curious if there's a channel that's particularly important for you in your space, and if there's a specific campaign that you could point to that is stood out performance wise, if there's anything that you could pull away from that campaign that helps it perform.
Pinterest,
Pinterest.
surprisingly. I mean, I guess not surprisingly, but
No,
surprisingly.
that's an interesting answer. Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Pinterest. What's your
I
approach to that channel?
I think that, I like slapped up some stuff in the beginning, but I didn't have the bandwidth. I mean, I'm sure you understand. Didn't have the bandwidth to do anything strategically with it. And then when we started working with a marketing company, there was a person on the team who was really into Pinterest and was like cracking their code. And so we've put up a lot of interesting things. One of the things that's performing the best actually is a top of funnel infographic, which is comparing heated furniture to other outdoor heating
Hmm,
options.
interesting.
So it's actually more informational than just beautiful, but it's done incredibly well for us.
That's surprising because Pinterest is such a visual platform. I wouldn't have thought an infographic of all things. I mean, when you first said Pinterest, I was like, sure, it makes sense because it's furniture, it's home, it's aesthetically pleasing, so it fits right into that channel. But now you're telling me it's a graphic that's outperformed.
Yes, and yeah, that does surprisingly well. Our other stuff does well too, and we've actually gotten a fair number of sales from Pinterest. Like we get a ton of views, but I was surprised by its conversion rate. I wasn't sure how it was going to work. I kind of worried that maybe conversion on Pinterest was a thing of the past, and now that only happened on TikTok. But
It's a
nope,
less competitive channel. So were these ads that you're running, or is it just organic that you guys post on
no,
Pinterest?
organic.
Organic.
Yeah.
Okay.
But here's what's interesting about Pinterest is that they really share a lot of their behind the scenes. And if you're willing to take the time to make something that kind of with the information they're giving you, you can do well. They
Mhm.
are a lot more open than most of the other channels.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I've had like brief exposure through my agency to Pinterest in the past, and I remember they're very generous in terms of even assigning like account managers to you,
yep.
and even providing one-on-one support more on the paid media side. But yeah, they do things a little bit differently.
And we do pay for some media, but our budget for Pinterest is it's under $500.
Okay.
We're not investing a ton because we don't. I mean, this is the thing, is that this year we're going to invest much more heavily in digital marketing to raise brand awareness because we have some key retail partnerships across the country. Like we just launched with DWR, and we'll launch in their stores in August. And so we're going to really use digital marketing to bring brand awareness because we're going to have these like physical locations to send people to. But and so we'll definitely increase all of our ad spend. But I would say that Pinterest is lower cost, higher reward. I wouldn't say it's low effort because a lot still goes into making the content to put on Pinterest, of course.
You have to put out good content there for sure for it to stand out.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned the retail channels because that's kind of was one of my questions. Of course, for your product category, it's important to have retail partners
Yes.
and distributors. How do you think about retail versus online, and like, do the two kind of complement each other, or do you treat them as separate channels? And I guess follow up to that as well is what's a bigger percentage of sales? Is it retail or online?
Right now it's direct to consumer online, but
Nice.
that, I think it might shift because we are actually bringing on, previous retail partners were kind of one-off boutique shops. And just at the end of last year, beginning of this year, we've brought on retail partners that have more, like a string of physical locations. And so the opportunity is much different now. So I'll be really curious to see how that goes, because again, it's so experiential. And I think that having the items in store with trained staff who are able to explain what it is and how it works will make a huge difference. So I'll be curious to see how that percentage changes.
Mm. Do you seek out retail partners? Do you seek you out, and what's your process for evaluating whether they would align with your brand? Because you don't want to be in Target, for example, right?
I mean, Target, if you're watching, call me. I mean,
Walmart, maybe.
we have a lot of different products that we can work with you on.
Sure.
Let's see. It's a combination. It's a combination of things. Again, it's like a lot of education. So we'll go to a trade show, maybe a certain kind of trade show that has retailers there who are looking for new products to round out their offerings. And maybe they want to offer something new. And so we start talking to them and see if it's a good fit, if they, are willing to make like the commitment to understand the product and then train their sales staff and that kind of thing. DWR was always kind of one of our dreams, and so that's really exciting that that's happened. We've had conversations with them in the past, but everything kind of aligned in the last year. So
what do you like about that partnership with them?
Well, we really like that they have such a history of quality design, and that they're choosy about what they carry, and so it's a real validating, stamp of approval. That they think that it's, we're being sold alongside of like Eames, which, is incredible. And Miller Knoll owns DWR, and that's like an incredible name in furniture design. And so that means a lot to us.
Right. Do your customers provide kind of feedback or kind of their thoughts or ideas on product, and how do you incorporate that into your design for new product lines, and what's your overall process for designing new products?
So absolutely, like, we're always taking feedback. And for example, some of our furniture now has a little light on it that shows that it's on. Before, there wasn't a light, so you just had to rely on the dial. But people, were a little confused, and so
Small detail, but
small
important.
details like that. Yeah. Also, we created a automatic shut off after 8 hours, because we would get phone calls from people saying, "Oh my gosh, I left town and the furniture's on." And there's actually no problem with that. It's totally fine. It's not going to cause any problem. But it
Just
made
takes
people
up a lot
nervous.
of electricity, yeah, or
Yeah.
makes them nervous.
And it actually doesn't draw that much electricity, but it still made people feel nervous, which I completely
Right.
understand. And so now we have like an automatic shut off.
Interesting.
So yeah, so we've definitely incorporated ideas and additions, and we've always kept the furniture as analog as possible. However, so many people have asked, "Oh, is there going to be an app for this?" And we've always said, "No, like, our furniture is going to."
An app for this, okay. What do they want
Yeah,
on
can
the
I
app?
just turn this on if I'm in my car and on my
Right,
way home? And I get that, because there's now so much smart home integration.
right.
And so, sure, if you want to use that smart home integration for the outlet that your furniture is plugged into, that's totally great.
That would,
We're
yeah,
not
it
going
seems to me
to.
like that would make sense, just get the
Yeah,
smart outlet, yeah. That's okay.
but we're not going to change our furniture to keep up with technology, because technology moves so fast and our furniture is going to last so long. So
Right.
analog is the way to go for
Right.
us. In regards to developing new product, my brother is definitely the innovator and inventor and is constantly coming up with new things. And I think he would just love to take 1,000 things to market. But, you know, we need to like focus on what we've got now and push that out. But there are so many things that he is always building and
Does he have
innovating.
like a sketchbook that he just keeps different
Oh,
designs?
and then he actually like builds the actual prototypes. Like
Wow.
yeah, he's it's amazing. So
Wow.
yeah,
Good for him.
yeah, it is. It's really cool. It's really cool. So watch this space. We'll definitely have more interesting things, not just furniture, in the future.
Yeah, we got to follow on your socials and see what kind of new designs are dropping.
Yes.
What advice would you have for other entrepreneurs looking to start a consumer brand?
Oh my gosh.
Loaded question. So much.
Nice. I don't know. You know what was one thing that we did when we first started out that I thought was a really good plan, and I think everyone should do it. We found people who are in our space, like furniture designers or product designers, and we're lucky to live in San Francisco, so there's a lot of those types of people. We reached out to them and we basically asked for an informational interview, and we wanted to know what they wish they had known, what sort of
Mhm.
pitfalls were easily avoidable. And it was incredible. People were so generous with their time and information. And it was just great to hear about their experiences. I mean, we still made a ton of mistakes, but it was great to have those relationships and to get their wisdom and make those connections. And it really, we created a community. We didn't create it. We're like now part of a community. So that is what I would recommend. I would recommend reach out to people and ask what wisdom they've learned and what they're willing to share. And I think you'd be surprised. Like people want to tell you. People want to help you.
Yeah, and if you could curate that feedback, you could save yourself, making those mistakes and buy yourself time. That
Yeah.
is a huge luxury to be
Yeah.
able to
They
afford.
could see farther down the road than we could. And that was really helpful.
Right. I guess, I mean, this was very interesting. I think, what I want to end with was just what's next for Galanter and Jones. Any exciting projects on the horizon, and even where do you even see Galanter and Jones in 5 years from now?
Well, we hope to triple our revenue in the next 3 years. And we just launched a new product a couple months ago, actually last month. Bye. Drive safely. Have fun. My husband's leaving for 2 nights.
Wow. Okay.
So we just launched a product a couple, actually, was it last month? So that's been really exciting, and it's kind of rounded out our offerings. We own and operate and built our own facility in the Philippines, and it's been an incredible place to do a lot of research and development. And so I see that really taking off and continuing. We really want everyone in the country to know that there's something called heated furniture that exists and is available to them if they want it. So that's my main goal. I want when people hear heated furniture to think of Galanter and Jones. That's
Mm-hmm.
my dream.
Has to be synonymous. Yeah. There's your new dog. What's his or her name?
Salty.
Salty. Ah, I like that name. Very cute.
Thank you.
Very cute.
So yeah, that's my goal. We want to be big. We could stay where we are right now, but we want to grow. Yeah.
Great.
So
Yeah.
I'm
No,
really excited about that.
yeah. A good
Excited. We
objective.
just hired a new team member, and I'm so excited about her, and I can't wait to hire some more people to bring on board.
What department is that new hire?
Customer service and sales.
Okay.
So key.
Is sales through your online channel or
Yes.
through your
Yes,
online
both through
channel?
that, but also helping support our retail partners.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, that's important to have. And it's funny, we were talking to outer furniture,
Oh, yeah.
not heated furniture, but
Yeah,
still outdoor furniture. Probably complementary in a lot of ways. But
totally.
yeah, Jake was talking about how they have sales is like physical sales staff is one of their number one ways of converting customers from their website, and they do a lot of like white glove service in the shopping experience, even
Yes.
online. They have no plans and will not automate with AI as opposed to what a
Yeah.
lot of other companies are doing, and yeah, he just says like a lot of direct to consumer brands that just want to automate every part of their sales process, every part of their online channel, and kind of wipe their hands and stand back. But not, it doesn't matter if you're a new brand or you're 5 years down the road, it still helps at a certain product level and price point. It's really important to have
I
sales to
could
support.
not agree more. He's absolutely right. It is so key. And I think that people forget that that's part of marketing. Like that whole experience is part of marketing. Everything that a consumer takes away, their feelings, their thoughts about the brand, and it starts with the people that they talk to. Even if we're not making a sale, if we're answering the questions and helping them figure out, I don't know, even if they don't buy our furniture, maybe they don't need our furniture, like just walking them through that is really important. Fire Clay is another local company. They make incredibly beautiful tiles, and all of their salespeople are so highly trained. And it's the same for outer. They're just really committed to that part of it, and I think that's absolutely key.
Is that through, do you offer phone support sales as well
Oh,
through the website? Okay.
absolutely. Phone, email, chat, absolutely, all of
Yeah,
those things.
however
And
they can get in touch.
yeah, and all of our retail partners, this might change in the future, but so far they all have my personal phone number and they can call me or text me anytime. Like, I know how important that is.
Right. Interesting. I mean, yeah, I think that's a very insightful and helpful tip for brands that kind of fall into that category. This was great. Thanks so much for coming
Oh,
on, Miranda.
my pleasure.
Um,
Thanks for asking me, Mark.
yeah, very insightful answers. And yeah, make sure to follow Galanter and Jones on socials. Like, just even if
Please.
you're not kind of in the market for this furniture right now, it's just beautiful imagery and aesthetics of the brand. So congrats on all
Thank
your
you.
success so far.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks, Miranda.